What makes research empowering is the fact that we can make great impact for other people's lives. STAY was established in 2006, but our history is older than that. Electrical Engineering Department established in 1947 and Informatics Department established in 1982. Technology is always changing, and so we are. In response to society and industrial needs, now we have 6 undergraduate study programs in total, together with 2 master programs and 1 doctorate program. Through close cooperation with industry and healthcare sector, we transform our research results into innovative products and services. We help business with our expert knowledge. We provide governments with insights and expert recommendation. With our knowledge and innovation, we create prosperity for millions. We believe learning is a never-ending experience. Socially and economically, come from the pursuit of ideas that are noble and timeless. Joy, wisdom, beauty, truth, equality, community, sustainability, and most of all, love. These are the things we live for. And the innovation that really make a difference are the ones that are life-enhancing. And that's why the heart of innovation is a desire to re-enchant the world. An idea, a change, or an improvement is only an innovation when it is put to use. And to make it usable, there's a lot of hard work and perseverance. That's what matters. Last year, we made more than 80 research projects, and we plan to make more. We aim to make an even greater, better innovation for Indonesia. The more people committed trying to find a solution, the greater result we can create. Electrical engineering and informatics is about creating something for the future. And that's how we do it. A passion for quality. What makes research empowering is the fact that we can make great impact for other people's lives. STAY was established in 2006, but our history is older than that. Electrical Engineering Department established in 1947 and Informatics Department established in 1982. Technology is always changing, and so we are. In response to society and industrial needs, now we have 6 undergraduate study programs in total, together with 2 master programs and 1 doctorate program. Through close cooperation with industry and healthcare sector, we transform our research results into innovative products and services. We help business with our expert knowledge. We provide governments with insights and expert recommendation. With our knowledge and innovation, we create prosperity for millions. We believe learning is a never-ending experience. Socially and economically, come from the pursuit of ideas that are noble and timeless. Joy, wisdom, beauty, truth, equality, community, sustainability, and most of all, love. These are the things we live for, and the innovation that really make a difference are the ones that are life-enhancing. And that's why the heart of innovation is a desire to re-enchant the world. An idea, a change, or an improvement is only an innovation when it is put to use. And to make it useful, there's a lot of hard work and perseverance. That's what matters. Last year, we made more than 80 research projects, and we plan to make more. We aim to make an even better innovation for Indonesia. The more people committed trying to find a solution, the greater result we can create. Electrical engineering and informatics is about creating something for the future. And that's how we do it. A passion for quality.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the International Conference on Information Technology System and Innovation, or ICITSI 2022. I'm Dela Hogiana, and I have a pleasure for being a host for today's event. First of all, let's express our thanks to God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us guidance, happiness, health, and also mercy so we can participate in this event without any obstacles. Ladies and gentlemen, the International Conference on Information Technology System and Innovation, or ICITSI, is an international conference organized by the School of Electrical and Informatics Engineering, or well known as STEI, a member of faculty of the Bandung Institute of Technology, And this is the 8th year of ICTSI event that focus on information technology system and innovation. This international conference will be held for 2 days, 8th and 9th of September 2022. ICITSI will become a big agenda in IT research and innovation for the next few years for academic, industry, government, and other entities from cyber society together and exchange ideas scientifically. All right, everyone. As a start of the opening sequence, let's first listen to our pride song, Indonesia Raya, please. All right, thank you, everyone. In this very beautiful moment, I also would like to welcome our distinguished speakers, moderator, guests, and all the honorable participants who attend this event today. And I would like to welcome to all the VIPs members. First, the Honorable Dr. Kus Prasapta Mutiarjasa as the General Chair of ICITSI 2022. And here we have the Honorable Mr. Purnomo Yustianto, PhD, as a moderator for today's event. Also, our distinguished keynote speakers, here we have Professor Robin Dos from Deakin University, Australia, Professor Kang Bin Yim from Sun Chung Yang University of South Korea, and Professor Suhardi from Bandung Institute of Technology, Indonesia. Once again, representing all the parties organizing this event, we would like to thank you for your presence and welcome to the International Conference of Information Technology System and Innovation, ICITSI 2022. Now, for the next agenda, we'll be hearing the program report by the General Chair from the Honorable Dr. Kupra Sapta Murtiajasa as the General Chair of ICITSI 2022. Please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 7th International Conference on Information Technology System and Innovation, or Icitsi 2022. On behalf of the Icitsi Organizing Committee, I'm honored and delighted to welcome you to this conference. The theme of the conference is disruptive and emerging digital technology driving digital transformation. Our technical program is rich and varied with 3 keynote speeches. Welcome to Professor Suhardi from Bandung Institute of Technology Indonesia, Professor Kang Bin Im from Soochoung University, Korea, and Professor Robin Dos from Deakin University, Australia. There are around 68 technical papers split between 4 parallel oral sessions, which will be held tomorrow on 9 November 2022. This afternoon, there is a workshop about blockchain for supply chain industry. As a conference chair of Icitsi 2022, I know that the success of the conference depends on the many people who have worked with us in planning and organizing the technical program and supporting arrangements. In particular, the program chair for their wise advice and brilliant suggestion on organizing the technical program. Then, the program committee for the thorough and timely review of the papers. And also our sponsor who have helped us to keep down the cost of Icitsi 2022 for all participants. Recognition should go to the organizing committee members who have all worked extremely hard on the different aspect of the conference program. Thank you for being here with us. We value your presence today. Enjoy the conference.
Thank you, Dr. Kus Prasapta Murtiajasa as the General Chair of Icitsi 2022. And then now we'll be hearing the welcoming remarks from the Honorable Dr. Tuntun Juhara, the Dean of School of Electrical and Informatics Engineering ITB. Please.
Good day, everyone. With a great pleasure, I welcome the participants of International Conference on Information Technology System and Innovation, Icitsi 2022. The quest for knowledge has been from the beginning of time, but knowledge only becomes valuable when it is disseminated and applied to benefit humankind. Icitsi becomes a regular international conference organized by the School of Electrical Engineering and Informatics, Bandung Institute of Technology, the Information Technology Research Group as one of the 9 research groups under the School of Electrical Engineering and Informatics, becomes the steering committee for Icitsi 2022. As a research group, it accommodates lecturers in conducting research and services to industry and society. The Information Technology Research Group contributes to the development of products and technology in the information technology sector that can be used by users or the market. Various technologies such as the Internet of Things, autonomous systems, smart system platforms, security system platforms, and service system platforms are some of the technologies that continue to be developed in line with developments in science and the needs of users or the market. The government, private sector, and public sector are part of the market that will use the research products. Dissemination of research results will certainly be able to make a wider contribution if facilitated through conferences attended by various participants. Therefore, we warmly welcome Icitsi 2022 and continue to support the successful implementation of Icitsi in the following years. I hope Icitsi 2022 will be a platform to gather and disseminate the latest knowledge in information technology systems. Academicians, scientists, researchers, and practitioners of information technology system will be able to share and discuss new findings
All right, thank you, everyone. So for the next agenda, now we'll be hearing the welcoming remarks from the Honorable ITB Rector, Professor Reni Wirahadikusuma, PhD. Please.
Yang terhormat Bapak Dr. Tutun Juhana, our Dean of School of Electrical Engineering and Informatics, and honorable keynote speakers, Professor Suhardi, also my colleague from Institut Teknologi Bandung, Professor Kang Bin Yim, our guest from Sun Chun Yang University, South Korea, Professor Robin Doss from Deakin University, Australia, and all our honorable guests, ladies, gentlemen, participants. It is a great pleasure for me to announce that the International Conference on Information Technology Systems and Innovation of 2022 is now officially open. And of course, it is an honor to welcome all of you, participants from Indonesia and also from abroad, so that you guys can exchange and discuss research experiences and findings in this exciting field of information technology systems and their application. Information and communication technology is, as we all know, rapidly evolving, especially to support synchronous face-to-face meetings. Several service providers are competing to develop platforms to support online meetings, each with a various set of benefits to offer. Using certain online meeting platforms, participants from all over the world can gather on the same agenda. In practice, the meeting's atmosphere is no different from that of typical or conventional meetings. This International Conference on Information Technology Systems and Innovation and other international conferences hosted by our campus, Institut Teknologi Bandung, also need to be creative in the use of available technology. I believe that members of the organizing committee and information technology research group staff of ITB, they all have worked very hard to organize this very important event. I would like to thank them for their commitment, time, and effort. I would also like to thank our sponsors, individual and organization partners, and of course, all the volunteers. We would not be able to create a total environment that supports your full participation without their support and generosity. And last but not least, I think let us pray and keep working hard together. This pandemic COVID is still lingering. We hope our experts, scientists, world leaders can come up with effective solutions. This past 2 years experiences will definitely be a very valuable moment for all of us, and raising our awareness of the significance of health and hygiene, and also collaboration. Again, thank you for coming and participating. You are the most important part of this event success. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Reni, for the welcoming speech. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into the main session, which is the keynote session, we'll take a pictures together. And now I would like to invite all the participants to open the cameras. Thank you. All right. Yes. We'll count into 3. Everyone, please give your best smile. 1, 2, 3. All right, the second page. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you, everyone. You can close your cameras or you can open your cameras. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have listened to the welcoming remarks by ITB Rector, and now we are going to step right into the next agenda, which is the keynote speakers session with the Honorable Mr. Purnomo Yustianto, PhD, as a moderator. But before that, I would like to introduce the moderators for the session. Mr. Purnomo. Good morning, Mr. Purnomo. All right.
Good morning, Della.
Yes, Mr. Purnomo graduated from Department of Informatics Engineering, Faculty of Industrial Technology, Institut Teknologi Bandung, ITB. And then he continued his study at the Department of Industrial Engineering and Management Postgraduate Program, ITB. And then he continued to the University Pierre Mendès France in 2019, he continued his study at Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. After graduated from the university, Mr. Purnomo served as an Information Technology Officer and Portal Development Manager at PetaIndoExchange.com. And from the 2003 up until now, Mr. Purnomo have been working in West Java Governor Office, and he is now served as the Head of Governance West Java Province Regional Secretariat. All right, Mr. Purnomo, time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Della, for your kind introduction. So, good morning, everyone. Honorary guests, fellow researcher, fellow student, the committee, and all of the participants today. Welcome to the 2022 International Conference of Information Technology System and Innovation. The conference has started in 2004, and over the course of 8 years, it has proudly housed about more than 400 quality papers, including today. Our topic for today is disruptive and emerging digital technology-driven digital transformation. So, due to the pandemic, as director mentioned, that some kind of adoption has been made. So the conference has converted into a digital channel, as you experienced today, since 2 years ago, and probably we will do so in foreseeable future until we have opportunity to do this in physical event again. So especially due to the pandemic, we see there is transformation that forced to be experienced with all of us. Then the technology has been become a main tools to do business, to do service, and to do transaction. And that lead us to where our situation is. So for the first part of the speaker for the today event, I invited Professor Suhardi, our host speaker. He received his bachelor degree and master degree in electrical engineering in Institut Teknologi Bandung, and his doctoral degree from Technical University of Berlin. And since then, he joined the School of Electrical Engineering and Informatics in ITB as lecturer and affiliated with the research group of information technology. He is a member of IEEE, and he is a professor in service computing area. So his research interests is especially in service computing, digital forensic, and cybercrime, and also in IT value engineering. Today, he will present his perspective on digital service transformation in private and public sector. I would like to invite Professor Suhardi to begin the presentation before the other speaker. Professor Suhardi, are you prepared, ready with the presentation?
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you very much.
okay. So,
Okay, thank you very much for the time for me to present my keynote speech. First of all, I will say to the committee, congratulations for the running of Icitsi 2022. Success for all, and I will deliver my keynote speaker with the title of Blockchain of Things. Why I choose this title? Because in the digital transformation, the two technologies very important in the digital transformation, blockchain and Internet of Things. So let me show my PowerPoint. Okay. Sorry. So we know that today blockchain and Internet of Things is two technology that have an important role in the digital transformation. The blockchain is a disruptive technology that maintains a single ledger of transaction in a decentralized and distributed network. And many experts predict that blockchain will play a role as a GPT or general technology purpose, like internet in the 2000 and telecommunication in the 1999. The technology play important role, and the technology become a general purpose technology that drive any other technology. And the ledger cannot be tampered, and all data is verifiable. Blockchain answered the question of the security, because the ledger cannot be tampered and all data is transparent, can be verified, and so on. And the second technology is Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is a system of physical devices and computing platform that connected via internet. Any other instrument, for example, sensor, actuator, computer itself, mobile phone, and user that can interact with other devices. So Internet of Things can facilitate any other thing. It can be biological system, it can be physical system, or even social system. Via the Internet of Things, all of the system can be connected to internet. So we can control, we can monitor, and we can give an instruction to the any system, so we can monitor and control it. So this is the two technology that important in the digital transformation era. And today, blockchain and Internet of Things is merged with the terminology of blockchain of things. There are many blockchain platforms that we can use and access in the market. for example, Ethereum, Hyperledger Fabric, and many other many other blockchain platforms that we can use readily, or we can develop self blockchain platform. So even there are many blockchain platform, there is still opportunity to develop a blockchain because the blockchain standard, architecture, and the blockchain platform is still open, because at the moment today, we are still looking for the best blockchain platform that can be used by any other organization. So why should we use a blockchain? First, the blockchain has a security guarantee, because the data in the blockchain cannot be tampered. The feature as immutable characteristic in the blockchain is fit on the security requirement. And the second, the blockchain technology is very transparent, as everything is visible to all of participants from the beginning until today. The data in the blockchain is transparent to the other, so that any participant in the blockchain can finding the data openly. And the time of transaction is less, yeah, but it's depend on the capability of the computer or machine that run the blockchain process. But today, the computing power of a computer or a computing machine is very cheap. So the time of transaction is not problematic in the blockchain. In the blockchain, we can increase efficiency, for example, in the finance industry sector and so on. So all the process can be made efficiently. Even today, we have some cases that online banking that based on the blockchain can excel the traditional banking. So more and more digital banking solution based on the blockchain proposed at the moment. So the blockchain can give a protection, I mean a fraud protection for the business, because on the security and transparency. And the blockchain can be used as a blockchain token. I give example in the industry in the next page. The blockchain technology is very transparent, as everything is visible to all of participants from the beginning. So one can see it's and everything on the decentralized network, which make it very open technology. It reduces the chance for any kind of discrepancy in the system, because nothing is hidden. All of the data in the blockchain is open. And blockchain can be used as a decentralized autonomous organization. With the blockchain, we can automate the process, the contract itself, so we can build autonomous organization around the world. So we can build a decentralized autonomous organization based on the features of the blockchain, especially with the development of smart contract. We can build the autonomous organization for the business organization, and they can realize decentralized autonomous organization. Why we use Internet of Things and then combine with the blockchain to build a blockchain of things? We have some features in the Internet of Things. At least there are 5 features of the Internet of Things that become a reason why we use Internet of Things in the digital transformation era. First, that through the IoT, we can collect the data more easily and cheaper. So if we have more data, it means that we have a better solution. And second, the ability to track and monitor things. As I said in the last page, that IoT can connect any other system, any other instrument to the internet, no matter it's biological system, physical system, social system, chemical system. Of the process, so far we can sensor and we can sensor the process, and we can give a command through the actuator. We can monitor, we can track, we can control the system. And the third, lighten the workload with automation. With the Internet of Things technology, we can implement the automation system more cheaper, more easy, and more effective. So we can increase the efficiency by saving money and saving resources, so that as an overall, we can deliver the better quality of life, because the situation, the condition of the system can be monitored, can be controlled based on our requirement. So in the digital transformation era, or many people call it as an Industrial Revolution 4.0. I don't know whether today is still Industry Revolution 4.0 or even 4.5 or 5.0 even. Yeah? And we have the terminology of Society 5.0. Yeah, maybe today is Society 5.5 or 6.0, but I still use the terminology of Industry Revolution 4.0 and Society 5.0. In this era, we need a digital transformation. So there are increases need in the business automation. So people want that all of the business can be run automatically. So we need a digital twin to integrate physical system, social system, or biological system, or any other system to cyberspace. So in the digital transformation, the important technology is internet. So we have to connect all of the system to the internet. That's why a digital twin is the important technology, important terminology that we have to solve. We have to provide a solution for them. And we need also data, transparent data. I mean, the data transparency and data transaction. So all of the transaction of the data have to be transparent to the other party. so that we can make the process open to the other. And we need all of the system easy to use or user-friendly to the party who use all of the system. And the system have to be smart, the system have to be secure and forensic ready. The secure system is very important, but we know today that it is impossible to make a system 100% secure. It is why we have to prepare the forensic ready system, so that if the system is breached by cyber attacks, so we can find the attacker, we know who is attacker, we know why the attacker breaches the system, and we can solve the system fastly. There are need of the digital transformation in the Industry Revolution 4.0 and Society 5.0. So, blockchain of things, there are many applications of blockchain of things in the world, but I would like to focus the leveraging blockchain of things for business platform and business innovation. We know that first we need to manage and to administrate transaction data. We can use blockchain to administrate and to manage transaction data, and then the blockchain can be used as electronic payment. Based on blockchain, we can develop cryptocurrency. So all of the business transaction can be automated by cryptocurrency. But we know that until today, our country have not yet have a regulation on the cryptocurrency. But in the reality, de facto, the cryptocurrency have been used for this transaction in our daily business case. Blockchain or blockchain of things provide smart contract technology, so the business transaction can be automated. So we know today that smart contract is the important technology that play an important role in the business automation, business transaction automation. So we can run the business 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. We need no human to control that, and the business is run automatically based on the smart contract technology. And the new development, even blockchain can realize the product representation and management. Some product that can be converted to the digital can be presented in a non-fungible token. So we can use the blockchain of things to represent a product, to manage a product. And the last development on the last business development, even product ownership can be innovated. For example, we can fractionalize the product. One product can be owned by more than one people. For example, today we can see that blockchain have been used as a share or stock of the company. Blockchain applied in the securities and so on. Even today we know that property have been sales by tokenized property itself. So one building or one room owned by some people or some buyers can buy a property together through the token, or we call it as a fractionalized property. So that something like crowdfunding. There is many opportunity to develop any other business based on the tokenized or fractionalized product. So we don't need to buy the product, a unit product. We don't need to buy a product as a unit, but we can buy the product maybe only 1% or 0.1% and so on. It's depend on the how many price of the token from the product. As a close of my keynote speaks, I will give 3 important notes. First, blockchain of things. Today, blockchain of things revolutionize business or industry. The blockchain of things have innovate the business model, business rule, or regulation, even product ownership. And the second note is business revolution open opportunity for new business and business innovation based on the blockchain and based on the blockchain of things. So the last note is there are opportunities to research and innovation blockchain of things solution for new business platform and innovation. Thank you very much. This is the last of our slide. I give the time to moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Suhardi. Blockchain certainly has been the talk of both the industrial sector and the academic, because it's been a promising future for our transaction. But hopefully we can discuss this further in the Q&A session. So I remind all of the participants to prepare a question for our speaker. So for the second speaker of today, we have invited Professor Kang Bin Jim. Oh, okay. So we have Professor Robin Dos first. He's my dear tutor from my doctoral degree. So he's currently a director for Center for Cybersecurity Research and Innovation at Deakin University. He's responsible for driving the research agenda planning for the research in his research center. And in addition, he also lead the next generation authentication technology team within the Australia Cybersecurity Cooperative Research Center. Unfortunately, Professor Robin has not been able to join us today, but he has been kind enough to provide us with the video, which will discuss his his paper regarding protocol design and security analysis with a focus on smart cyber physical and critical infrastructure. Let's watch his video.
Good morning. It's a great pleasure to be able to deliver this keynote, and I hope you've been having a good conference so far, and that you'll enjoy the rest of the conference. My thanks to the organizers for this opportunity. My name is Professor Robin Doss from the Center for Cybersecurity Research and Innovation at Deakin University in Melbourne, Australia. The title of my talk is A Case for Rethinking User Authentication and Identity Verification. And in this talk, I will be arguing, hopefully convincingly, for some directions in which authentication and identity verification technologies need to be evolved. As I mentioned, I'm from the Center for Cybersecurity Research and Innovation at Deakin University. In addition to that, I also lead the team on the development of next generation authentication technologies with the National Cybersecurity Cooperative Research Center. Before I get into my presentation, I'd like to just introduce the Center for Cybersecurity Research and Innovation at Deakin University. It's a team of more than 100 researchers who work on different cybersecurity topics, ranging from technology and systems, business and organizational security, law, regulation, and strategic policy, as well as the human dimension of cybersecurity. And our researchers come from three different faculties at Deakin, the faculties of arts and education, business and law, science, engineering, and built environment as well. And we work closely with the health faculty as well. The key distinction about our research approach and team is that we truly represent a multidisciplinary approach to cybersecurity challenges. We have close to 40 PhD students that work across these areas of cybersecurity research. And really what we're aiming to do in terms of the outcomes of our research is to translate them to have impact across different industry sectors and work collaboratively with government and industry to be able to solve some of the pressing challenges that we face in the cybersecurity domain, both nationally and globally as well. With that introduction, I'd like to get into my talk for today, the outline of which essentially is on the slide, which has 4 distinct parts to it. I'll introduce the concept of authentication technology and identity verification with some first principles. Then I'll proceed to make a case for two-factor authentication and argue why we now need to rethink what used to be thought of as a secure technology, and then pose some potential responses or answers to the question, where to from here. Starting off with some first principles. Whenever we talk about authentication, you would be familiar that authentication technologies predominantly have been based on 3 different things. Based on secrets that a user knows, such as a password or a PIN number or a response to a security question, or something that is in the possession of the user, so based on something that the user has, or thirdly, based on some uniqueness of characteristics, which usually is referred to as something that the user is, and biometrics would be an example of this. The process of providing some assurance in relation to the identity of a user and the integrity of the data or information that they present underpins confidence in authentication technologies. Now, if we can look at some definitions of what could be termed as understandings of authentication or identity. Some definitions drawn from standards bodies such as NIST in the US, or NSA, which is the European Union's Information Security Agency. Looking at that definition, we see that there are some key terms that come out as part of these definitions. In the first definition, we see this term called assurance that's referred to. In the second definition from NIST, we see that there's this term referred to as confidence. Now, both assurance and confidence are what we would term as non-deterministic terms, as there can be different levels of assurance and confidence. In the third and fourth definition, we see these two different terms, which are verifying and ascertain, which are more deterministic in nature, which refer to a way of building confidence, if you like, in terms of the authentication process itself. Irrespective of how you view authentication processes in general, more broadly, or the type of technology that is used, we can all agree that a digital identity is required to be unique in the context of a digital service, in the sense of being able to access a digital service, and in terms of a service provider being able to provide services to identity, which does not necessarily need to be traceable back to a specific real-life subject. What we mean by this is, in other words, accessing a digital service may not mean that the underlying subject's real-life representation is known. Identity proofing, on the other hand, establishes that a subject is actually who they claim to be. Now, if we put these two definitions together, or positions together, digital authentication then can be defined as the process of determining the validity of one or more authenticators used to claim a digital identity. The key phrase here is to claim a digital identity, which tells us that your digital identity does not necessarily need to be your real identity. Authentication establishes that a subject attempting to access a digital service is in control of the technologies used to authenticate. And this is an important principle or feature to understand about authentication technologies, and one of the key deficiencies, if you like, in authentication technologies. So with those first principles, let's move on to 2FA, or what we refer to as two-factor authentication. When we want to authenticate ourselves or our digital identities to access a digital service, usually it's done by presenting one or more authentication factors. When we present more than one authentication factors, we refer to this as two-factor authentication. Why would we want to use two-factor authentication? It basically comes down to the fact that single-factor challenge-based authentications have been proven to be weak, whether they may be password-based authentication mechanisms, or possession-based mechanisms, or non-deterministic inheritance-based mechanisms. Some stats going back to, say, 2019, but even you can look at some stats more recently as well, which speak to the fact that, for instance, more than half the population, so more than 52% of users, reuse the same password for multiple accounts. And 13% reuse the same password for all of their accounts. And therefore, if a password is compromised, it compromises not just one digital platform or service, but all of the platforms on which that user might be using that password. A report from 2020 from the Ponemon Institute spoke to the fact that almost 1/3, 31% of respondents say that their organizations do not require their remote workers to use authentication methods. As we've all moved to remote ways of working and working from home and being in a position where we can access our institutional and business and enterprise networks from anywhere and any location, this does seem to be quite worrying. Of the 69% of organizations that do require authentication, only 35% require multi-factor authentication. Therefore, we see that authentication, even though technologies exist, are not necessarily being adopted. But before we get to the adoption side of things, why do we need to think about stronger forms of authentication, such as two-factor authentication? It speaks to some of the weaknesses of single-factor challenge-based authentication mechanisms. What a two-factor challenge-based authentication mechanism does is it increases the strength or the confidence that you can have as a verifier that the authentication factors that are being presented in a non-compromised manner. So while primary factors in that authentication process might still be memory-based, you can complement that by secondary factors that are possession-based to increase the level of protection for users and effort for the adversary. Secondary factors that are inherence-based provide proof of presence as well, but in a probabilistic sense. So two-factor authentication does give you significant benefits or builds in robustness into your authentication process. Now, there's a distinction here that we can make between two-step verification and two-factor authentication. What is the difference? When we talk about two-step verification, it essentially is a two-step process that is employed as a means to verify the identity of the user, typically requiring two distinct pieces of information that the user knows. Notice that two pieces of information, but it's still speaking to the same type of information, which is built on something that the user knows, something that might be secret. Two-factor authentication, on the other hand, is where you're involving or combining two separate identity factors to authenticate the user. So you might combine something that the user knows with something that the user possesses, or with something that's unique about the user, and therefore it gives you almost a stronger level of authentication. And one of the most popular, if not the most popular form of what is commonly considered to be two-factor authentication is SMS-based OTP. So you might use a PIN number, for instance, which only the user knows, and combine it with a one-time password that is provided either through an authenticator app or over SMS, and so on. And this is aimed at increasing the security levels during the authentication process. Now, when we talk about two-step verification using SMS-based one-time passwords, we see that they are used quite widely because there are significant benefits. For instance, it's ubiquitous in nature, it's easy to use, it's inexpensive, and it is accessible as well. Even if you don't have internet access over SMS, you're still able to access it. However, since OTPs are sent over the cellular network using the SS7 protocol, SMS messages have been proven to be intercepted. In fact, a report going back almost 5 years now to 2018 looked at SS7 vulnerabilities and found that 9 out of 10 SMS messages can be intercepted. And this was not network or carrier specific, because all analyzed networks contain critical vulnerabilities that lead to subscriber services disruption. And therefore, there's significant weaknesses, if you like, from a data security perspective in terms of building authentication mechanisms on top of a vulnerable system or method of communication such as SMSs. We can, however, ask the question, does a second step, having a second knowledge factor on top of a secret factor, actually elevate security? And we could argue that it actually does not, in the sense that the level of effort required for an attacker does not actually vary too significantly. If you were compromising two different types of authentication factors, such as if you were compromising a password, which is something that the user knows, with, say, biometrics information, something that is unique to the user, then the attacker has to put the effort to compromise two different types of information. On the other hand, if he or she is compromising just something that the user knows, which is knowledge-based information, then they can probably reuse the same types of interception methods and tactics to obtain that information. Now, there's been some well-known attacks that have been documented when it comes to SMS-based OTPs. And without going into too much detail, for instance, using techniques such as reverse proxy, such as Modlishka, for instance, which allows you to intercept and modify traffic meant for login pages and allows you to carry out some phishing operations. You'll be able to impersonate a legitimate server to a victim and thereby steal credential information. A second type of attack is what we refer to as the passing the cookie mechanism as well, which is much like passing a hash or passing the ticket in an Active Directory domain. Basically, the idea is if you put multi-factor or two-factor authentication on top of your web applications, the user logging in will be prompted to provide additional proof of who they say they are by accepting a push notification, for instance. At that point, a browser cookie is created and stored for that user's session. However, if you can capture that cookie, you can then pass that cookie and bypass the authentication mechanism. Another type of fraud is what's referred to as a SIM swap fraud, and this is carried out quite successfully by adversaries by combining some social engineering techniques directed at both the victim and the service provider. The adversary or the attacker is able to carry out this SIM swap mechanism, whereby they're able to redirect SMS, OTPs, SMSs in general to a new SIM that they've registered against that particular phone number, for instance. In terms of widely used methods, such as SMS-based OTPs, there are proven weaknesses. And this, combined with weaknesses in current authentication technologies in general, has resulted in the need for us to rethink how we carry out authentication and identity verification. So if SMS-based OTPs isn't the answer, what is the answer? Is it authentication? Is it authenticator apps? Do they provide us with a higher level of security? And the answer is not necessarily. While it gives us a level of security that might be higher than SMS-based OTPs, what it does not really allow you is to bind the authentication credentials to the physical user. And this is a common drawback, if you like, of most technologies that we use today. This often forgotten question of binding. User knowledge factors and possession factors are always done without strong binding to the owner or the legitimate party. More often than not, solutions are not designed or built from a formal security analysis perspective, taking into account a capable adversary, which is a serious concern, especially now as the conversation is moving more from a capable adversary to a quantum capable adversary as well. So I will argue that there is a need for rethinking 2FA for many reasons. Knowledge-based 2FA fails to achieve strong binding. Possession factors come with usability trade-offs. 2FA in general is a static form of authentication and therefore does not give you continuity of authentication to prevent against things like session hijacking attacks. Most technologies that we have these days do not attempt or are not able to capture what we refer to as authentication intent. And there are significant perception and adoption barriers as well. So can biometrics, for instance, be the silver bullet? Unfortunately, not. And one of the key reasons for this is biometrics, even though we think of it as being a highly deterministic technology because of that uniqueness aspect to it, when it comes to biometric technologies themselves, they're not they do not constitute secrets, but more importantly, biometrics verification is probabilistic in nature. So you're actually making a probabilistic decision as opposed to a deterministic decision. And therefore, biometrics, and this is the recommendation and guidelines from NIST, is biometrics are not suitable for use as a single factor authentication mechanism. In fact, NIST recommends that biometrics shall only be used as part of MFA with a physical device, as a possession factor, and not actually as a secret factor during the authentication process. Combined with this is the fact that current authentication technologies are not highly adopted. Physical authentication devices can provide, for instance, an additional layer of security. However, adoption is quite low. And therefore, there's significant work required here from a usability perspective to make physical authentication devices, which can provide some higher levels of confidence, much more usable to improve their adoption. And you might be familiar with things like the FIDO Alliance, which are focusing on increasing and improving adoption of physical authentication devices. Also, something that we don't really recognize is, as we move into a world that is always on, always connected, static one-time authentication is no longer sufficient. We need what we refer to as continuous authentication. And you might be familiar that one of the tenets of zero trust architectures is this notion of continuous authentication, that you don't just stop at authenticating a user when they start a session or begin access. You are able to build in authentication and anti-verification as a continuous process during the user's journey through your ecosystem. And this aspect of continuity being incorporated into multi-factor authentication is more towards behavior metrics, if you like, rather than biometrics. And therefore, we need to ask the question of how can we actually achieve continuous authentication. Without going into too much detail, we do have a survey paper in ACM surveys on this that looks at continuous user authentication mechanisms. We all carry lots of devices these days that have large sensory capacity within them, a lot of which can be exploited, if you like, to build continuous authentication. So within a smartphone, for instance, you have different types of sensors, such as a gyroscope, for instance, facial recognition mechanisms, fingerprint scanners, and so on. Accelerometers, all of these can be exploited to build this continuity and profile of users that can be exploited for continuous authentication purposes. We have several ongoing projects within the center at Deakin that is looking at this. One of this is called as RISE, which is in partnership with some of our university and industry partners, looking at how we can exploit ambient signals in a smart environment to build robust and continuous authentication. But it's not just about users and authentication that we need to be concerned about, because as we move into the IoT context, we now need to also consider what device-to-device authentication looks like and how we can build in confidence in that realm as well. So as I finish, what is the challenge in terms of going forward? The focus really needs to be around how do we address the yoking challenge or the binding challenge between authentication credentials and users and devices. How do we move to more continuous forms of authentication? And to increase the challenge for the adversary, do we have the ability for dynamic and on-the-fly composition of authentication controls and requirements, which will not allow an adversary to carry out simple attacks like replay attacks, for instance. Usability is often traded off for increased security, and that's something that will impact on adoption of security technologies, and therefore we need to ensure that what we develop is highly usable as well. And we need to design for a strong adversary, and also on one hand, And on the other hand, you need to also design for human error, making sure that your technology is robust, not just against an adversary, but also against misuse by or errors by humans as well. So there are lots of areas in which we can undertake research in this space, broadly across 3 dimensions. One is around development of new technologies. Secondly, in terms of usability and adoption. And thirdly, in terms of the human aspects. So I will conclude my talk there, but thank you very much for listening. If there's any questions or comments, feel free to drop me a note, and I'd be very happy to discuss this further with you. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of the conference, and thank you once again to the organizers for this opportunity to be able to speak to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Robin. It has been an interesting discussion. He has laid out the challenge in front of us in terms of authentication. We are moving on from two-factor into continuous authentication with research opportunity in that area. Next, our last speaker is Professor Kang Bin Yim. He's originally got his degree from Department of Electronic Engineering in Ajo University, South Korea. And he is currently a professor in Department of Information Security Engineering from Sonchung-yang University. His research interest in the vulnerability assessment, malware analysis, leakage prevention, secure architecture, and especially in terms of mobile network, industrial control system, and vehicle platform. He also served as a executive board member for Korea Institute of Information Security and Cryptology, and also Korean Society for Internet Information. And also he served as a committee chair for several international conferences and editor for journals such as GIT, MIS, and GCTC. He also has provided us with a video regarding mobile security. Please take time to view his insight.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you all. I'm Kang Bin Yim, professor in the Department of Information Security Engineering at Suncheon University in Korea. I'm pleased to meet you on this conference, and I'm very honored to have this opportunity to give a talk at this excellent event. I just tried to put our research results together in this presentation in order to describe an outline of our work we have done regarding the vulnerability identification and evaluation at cybersecurity aspect. Even though we have been doing it on different IoT systems, industrial control systems, mobile baseband, etc. I just limited the presentation on the automobiles. Thank you again for the opportunity to introduce our research results and the conclusions we have reached so far. I hope this presentation will provide you with useful information. I have been a professor for 20 years at Department of Information Security Engineering. Also, I opened a conversion security department for mobility at graduate school, and I'm also running the International Reliability Assessment Center. I'd like to share my experiences with you today. In fact, during the process analyzing and discovering various vulnerabilities in automobiles and their subparts, we usually encounter a lot of data, field data, So recently, there have been various research issues related to artificial intelligence and big data analysis. So the demand for data collected in such a field has much increased from related researchers. While analyzing vulnerabilities, there are some on-site data gathered from the autonomous car-related systems. So I thought I would briefly introduce the methodology to collect, analyze, and verify such data. First, I will briefly introduce the recent global trends in cybersecurity related to automobiles, and as well as vulnerability analysis related to automobiles internal network and sensor network, infotainment systems, and outbound connections, and research on intrusion detection system for vehicles. We will start with the recent global trends of cybersecurity related to automobiles. Everybody will agree that it is really necessary to emphasize the need for security on autonomous vehicles. Cars used to be just machines created by assembling a multitude of mechanical components together, like engine, transmission, steering, brake, and so forth. But nowadays, almost all these mechanical components inside a car are managed by digital controllers. Some high-end cars sold today are now more intelligent than any other electronic systems, with more than 100 electronic control modules. All the new various technology developments in the automotive industry being carried out with the goal of autonomous driving in mind. Therefore, vulnerabilities and attacks we used to experience in various existing IT environments are now also very worrisome in this new environment. As a result, the car now can be seen as a software system. The software architecture is now divided into interconnected modules that are becoming more complex every day. As complexity increases, each module becomes a part in the large distributed embedded software running on multiple processors. So while analyzing automobiles and their behavior, we need to consider the nature of distributed embedded software system. In the past, most vulnerability analysis ignores the system level overall vulnerability analysis. Most of the car-related accidents seem to be related to the absence of a holistic analysis. And now, even mechanical hardware influences the execution of the software, actually. So hardware is just an input variable to the software, while we are doing vulnerability analysis. Due to rapid technological advancements, self-driving cars and associated self-driving features are being launched commercially. Software updates are done nowadays through mobile network. Things like remote control of our vehicles are now coming true. And autonomous driving vehicles are currently allowed to drive on road to overcome the difficulty of the autonomous technology. Cooperative driving called V2X is becoming more prominent. In order to understand autonomous driving technology, we can start with a few simple components such as ultrasonic sensors, radar, and LiDAR, camera, GPS, etc. Continuous introduction of various external sensors and contacts, as well as additional networking functionality, has introduced new vulnerabilities related to automobiles in recent years. Lately, there have been continuous reports about attacks on connected and self-driving cars related to various vulnerabilities. There was proof of vulnerability attack on Cherokee in 2015, which was a new example of attack used a mobile network vulnerability that allowed breaking into a car head unit. The figure summarizes our research traces on the vulnerability analysis for automobile. We have identified internal network vulnerabilities, telematic vulnerabilities, outbound network vulnerabilities, sensor network vulnerabilities related to autonomous driving. We have also identified firmware vulnerabilities too. When we analyze vulnerabilities, we need to understand that just like a huge dam can collapse due to a small needle hole, since software embedded parts are supplied from different companies by just meeting the requirement, it is hard to evaluate if they may have vulnerabilities or not. When triggered by extreme stimuli, they can lead to fatal accident. It has been a common practice to perform static analysis using disassembler to understand the logical structure of the code at the binary level. However, because of external dependencies during the code execution, it is necessary to find vulnerabilities from actual executing code. However, that makes it almost impossible to cover all the possible execution paths. The hill-based hardware or software code analysis method can significantly improve the problem with higher safety. Vulnerability analysis is not a simple task anymore, so it requires significant automation effort at a system-wide level. So based on this, we designed an automation framework for vulnerability analysis. Recently, standards and regulations related to cybersecurity in the automotive sector have become a major concern for manufacturing factories. Regulations on cyber security management system and software update management systems recently took effect in Europe, and also the ISO 21434 automotive cybersecurity standard was completed last year. The magazine major task for industry to prepare for certification for threat analysis and risk assessment. We call it TARA. Let's take a look at the security in vehicle network as car is a complex system with various functions such as speed control and direction control. So the automobile has a distributed structure to implement the functions. Element functions participate and collaborate with each other using network communication to perform special functions. In fact, automobiles typically implement a number of logical element functions in a single physical controller called ECU. But as the number of functions continues to increase, more and more of these controllers are required. The ECUs are connected to a controller area network called CAN and communicate with each other using packets defined separately for each element function. In the real world, hundreds of these packets are continuously transmitted per second. Quite complex packet movements occur to perform these functions in parallel. So they are classified to physically separate networks of different domains to make packets transmissions more efficient. To properly collect CAN messages, it is necessary to know the isolation structure of internal network in advance. In the past, with a single network, packets were collected using a diagnosis port called OBD, but after broken into multiple, we need to find an ECU, so-called the gateway, in order to collect all the packets. Our study has analyzed vulnerabilities based on actual vehicles since 2014. Through this, we have facilitated Kia Soul's old and new versions, BMW and Volkswagen models, two Tesla 3 and the Hyundai Genesis G80. We also have prepared a sufficient experiment environment related to the vulnerability analysis. For several years, we collected a large number of different driving data sets every day at a distance of about 12 kilometers, as well as video recordings from inside and outside the car, and synchronize them with the driving data sets to create field-based experimental data sets. In the early days, many experimental studies were conducted on packet injection and collection for major ECUs to understand how they react when specific messages are injected. Recently, many other teams have researched on attacks, so we are developing effective attack databases altogether by referencing the other results from the teams. It might be dangerous to inject known attack packets into real car when driving. So we implemented a test bed based on the actual vehicle parts to replay canned packets collected from actual driving. Using the real vehicle part, real vehicle part-based reply test bed, we collected contaminated asset very effectively. We will now take a closer look at the sensors. Sensors in autonomous cars are extremely important nowadays. Genesis G80 is equipped with 2 cameras, 5 radars, 8 ultrasonic sensors. Generating physical signal disturbance onto various sensors would help us analyze how to the software respond by this disturbance. In case of cameras, the camera is basically used to detect road lines and prevent collisions. So we performed injecting a light source error into the camera using a laser module when the car is at about 60 kilometers per hour. As a result, the actual driver assistance system was out of a normal condition, and we collected all real-time driving data sets around PCAN and CCAN from the normal and disturbance conditions. We do similar injection into ultrasonic sensors with various frequencies from 1 hertz to 22,000 hertz or higher, and collected lean packets and CAN data sets for normal states and error injection states. GPS jamming makes it seems like the vehicle is moving to a completely different location. We have expanded to this experiment to figure out the impact of the location information system-wide. Also, jamming against telematics service is another approach. Since the mobile network is used for telematics, a fake base station or manipulating mobile control planes can also lead to service interference. Through the experiences I explained, we implement the kind of new analyzing framework for all sensors participating in autonomous driving, including ultrasonic sensors, cameras, and radar sensors. We are developing an automated testbed to evaluate whether the built-in software in a sensor works properly under some extreme circumstances. So automatic jigs are developed to automatically inject noise into sensors through fake obstacles. On a reconfigurable frame card. Sensors are mounted in the desired position. Automated jigs are placed around it and control the motors to move obstacles. An automated experiment can be conducted by performing error injection in predetermined sequences and collect all effects on the internal packets. Okay, we are now moving to the infotainment system. The infotainment system used to be called AVN because it includes audio, video, and navigators. More recently, it is called in-vehicle infotainment system, or IVI. According to its rules, it requires transceiving CAN messages. The IVI systems incorporate even remote control or software updates through the mobile network. From the perspective of a connected car, the IVI can be a host of dangerous attack points. So it is essential to target, to identify vulnerabilities. Also, system and user apps should be protected by software integrity mechanisms like certificates and signature verification. However, we have identified that using a few vulnerabilities, this defense system can be easily disabled. Malicious applications can be installed locally or remotely, and the car can be taken over. Software updates for Android IVI are divided in two main categories: general updates and system updates. In the case of the system update, it is a procedure to update the system partition area. A special key combination enters the system into the update mode. During this mode, an update file will be read from a US memory stick or an SD card and validated using the signature information. In contrast, in the case of generic updates, the low-level verification mechanism operates because the overall update is performed. Once the update is started, the integrity of the updated file is verified by default, and then the full-scale update system is activated. This procedure decompresses and decrypts the encrypted and compressed updated file, and then runs signature verification for each actual updated image in the updated file. Through this process, the system update begins and then reboot, and the actual updates are carried out. In fact, Most of the vulnerabilities occur when verifying these signatures, such as using a developed default certificate to sign and validate the images, or someone who issued a legitimate certificate can become an attacker and sign a temporary file and pass the legitimate certificate to the IVI for layer signature verification. In the past, Android-based IVI supported App Store, but it was not allowed to install other than signed apps, and even installing new apps other than pre-installed apps was also functionally disabled. But a few vulnerabilities could enable the ability to install additional apps, and even can install tempered apps through a man-in-the-middle attack. Software updates also include wireless remote updates via over-the-air channels. The OTA channel support for IVI firmware updates is usually a variation of the 3GPP OMADM framework. In this environment, each entity participating in the framework, such as an authentication server and firmware distribution server, may be open to a session steal attack, leakage of authentication information, exposure of encryption algorithms, etc. So persistent security and management is very important, because malicious code injection can disable the security function of software updates. Regarding the telematics, we need a remote server for car control, and the owner of the car connected to the server uses some client software, such as a mobile app, and the three parties need to communicate with each other through Wi-Fi or mobile network. I think it is also very important that it is possible to penetrate the internal control mechanism through session hijacking. Real-world experiments using user-client software vulnerabilities lead to unlock the doors. And it was also possible to start the engine, roll the windows up and down, turn the audio on and off, and adjust even volume. The following is a security issue in the connected environment. If a network connected car has a vulnerability, it can be used as an attack vector that threatens the entire urban infrastructure by occupying the car logically. Because the car is a very private space, the attack is completely free from physical access, and because there are so many different components in the car, a compromised car can be a weapon with very comprehensive attack tools. In particular, there is a risk of endangering the entire city if multiple automobile-linked services are used in the attack, or if they are joined by various IoT devices in the city network. Sensor-based autonomous driving technology, it has limitations in obstacle detection and distance measurement. So we should go to the CITS environment in the future. This means that the car is directly connected to the urban transportation infrastructure as mentioned above. There are two different standards for CITS. One is Wave based on Wi-Fi, and the other is CVTX based on mobile network. Even both methods have advantages and disadvantages. The strategic market logic tries to go to the CVTX standard, but the Wave standard is still not abandoned in the field. So the two standards are likely to coexist for a while. This figure shows the entire Wave protocol stack that was standardized as IEEE 16009, which is implemented on the top of the IEEE 802.11 wireless physical layer, and essentially carries standardized SAE J2735 V2X messages. In particular, the J2735 standard provides a variety of messages under the name DSRC for communication between cars and infrastructure, or even pedestrians on the road, in relation to safe driving. Through this, it is necessary to prevent proof of these messages because there will be attacks related to these functions. The Korean government has been conducting operational experiments with a VTX pilot track that is about 100 kilometers long for several years. And the VTX environment is expecting nationwide. Earlier in the day, we received the onboard units and roadside units used in those operating experiments to collect some of the VTX field data sets. At that time, we collected and analyzed 2.2 gigabytes of data, including on-site messages and heterogeneous data logging results for different locations. It contains important information for security mechanisms, such as a list of certificates, and we could see a variety of unencrypted information around. Based on this experience, we believe that automotive vulnerabilities or attacks are no longer limited to internal networks or body components. So vulnerability analysis and response should rather expand to overall infrastructure such as the VTX environment. Currently, we are building a field-based test bed with 5 OBUs installed in our test vehicles and 8 portable RSUs to identify V2X vulnerabilities and verify attacks. Finally, I introduced the vehicle intrusion detection systems because the in-vehicle network does not have enough security features. There is a growing concern that it may be possible for external attacks to intrude into the car and inject normal packets. So many research projects are conducted on the vehicle intrusion detection. However, even though various studies have attempted to detect abnormal packets using machine learning, but previous studies have been pursuing on a specific, the exact same model of car. Because CAN ID mappings differ from model to model, so the result of the intrusion detection for a specific CAN ID set is not applicable to other cars with different ID sets. So our research team is continuing to study in a variety of approaches to derive practical universal intrusion detection algorithms applicable to all cars. First of all, the training CAN data set is collected from BMW 118D, and we try to distinguish between steady state and intrusion state by using them in various deep learning algorithms. Instead of using CAN messages, actually CAN IDs or some payloads, we wanted to make feature extraction more meaningful by converting factors from time domain to frequency domain. As a result, we found that all algorithms detect more than 98% of attack situations for the same car models. And in addition, the results run using the BMW dataset were applicable to Tesla and we found the result to be more than 99% practical. Based on these experiments, a study was conducted to determine what specific attacks are in the context of an attack. The results are as good as follows. So, what should future automotive security be like? By showing you this picture, I'd like to ask you some advice on this. Thank you very much for your listening.
Okay, thank you, Professor Yim. Among other, as we watch, he highlighted that as our vehicle has more digital parts and become a digital system, we can then inquiry its security toward intrusion and disturbance, because it has a direct consequence to safety, even as a matter of life and death of the rider and the city itself. Finally, it's also illustrated well on our current situation, in which, in the context of cyber physical system, well, we live in a physical system, real world. More and more we invest our life in a cyber world, perhaps unintentionally. Then it became the question of technology and its security, and ultimately the safety of the system for our life. So we have about half an hour for discussion. Again, I invited all the participants to provide a question, perhaps, or opinion regarding our topic today. And we still have Professor Suhardi in the forum to probably answer or discuss all of our concerns today. You can direct a question by raising your hand in direction, or providing text in the chat box. Okay, we have the first question, especially for Professor Suhardi. So, are we online, Pak Suhardi?
Yeah, I'm still online.
Okay, so this is one question from Arif, that he said that the idea presented is quite interesting, the blockchain technology. Unfortunately, I missed the definition of BOT. Would you be so kind to make it clear? And what is the difference between blockchain of things compared to the ordinary blockchain, and probably on the advantage and disadvantage of each of them? That's the first question. Probably you can directly address. So he asked about the definition of BOT, blockchain of things.
Okay, what is the definition of Internet of Thing or blockchain of thing, Mak Purnomo?
BOT, so blockchain of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, blockchain of thing is a terminology used to refer combination between blockchain and Internet of Thing. So the Internet of Thing is a component that normally used to connect any other system to the cyber system. This is the IoT, and blockchain is we know that blockchain is technology that can use to manage data in a distributed network or distributed system. So the blockchain of things is the combination of blockchain and Internet of Things. So Actually, blockchain of thing consists of two technology that operate together. Yeah, I don't have exactly definition of blockchain of thing, but we we combine blockchain and Internet of Thing as one system, so we call it as blockchain of thing. So all of the data that we collect or monitor from any other system, normally it's not cyber system. It can be physical system, biological system, chemical system, social system. The data normally the data come from the systems through the internet, through the IoT, collected to the internet and processed by blockchain. So we call it as blockchain of thing.
Okay, so it's interesting because blockchain itself is a fusion of several technology, and then we have blockchain of things, which drive it to another technology. So IoT, Internet of Things, is in terms of application, we see it's a kind of machine-to-machine communication. Is it, if it's not, if it's so in terms of blockchain, is the Internet of Things, we say sensor or the kind of intelligent machine become the actor for the blockchain, or so the part who is doing the transaction is the machine, the IoT, is it?
No, actually the doing transaction is in a blockchain or any other system, information system that connect to the blockchain, or yeah, something like for example we have a for example we have e-commerce system, for example.
Okay.
E-commerce system can be connected to the blockchain of thing, which blockchain process the transaction and the security matter, and IoT can be connected to the other system, for example, yeah, as a similar vending machine, for example, vending machine, or you know gasoline machine transaction.
Okay, yeah.
So on. So that's why with the blockchain of then we can connect all of the automatic machine or vending machine to the internet, and with, for example, the cryptocurrency and so on. So the transaction process can be do automatically anytime and anywhere.
Okay.
That is the idea of the blockchain of thing, that facilitate the automatic business process, in the same time use the capability of blockchain to guarantee security, yeah, to manage the data, to make the data transparent, and maybe we need to know the historical data of the transaction and so on.
Okay, so in this case, probably the device, the smart things, the IoT, provide as a node to the blockchain, as a data provider for the blockchain. Is that so?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so it become the blockchain. Mr. Arif, is that answering your question, or if you have further question, please do so. And then if he also asks about the advantage and disadvantage, so I don't know. The advantage is the technology opportunity, the use case, more of the use case probably, yeah, Pak Suwardi. And then the disadvantage also probably in terms of the concern for security. Is it like that, Professor Suwardi?
Yeah. Yeah, the opportunity on the advantage is, I think, still open with the with the development of business innovation in the virtual world through the blockchain is still ongoing. Yeah, in my presentation, for example, today all of the product asset can be fragmented or tokenized. So we can buy an asset, not asset as unit, but we can asset, for example, only 0.1% from the price. So one asset can be purchased by 100 or 1,000 people. This is the first opportunity for the blockchain, so that the concept of ownership, the concept of product and selling is totally changed. This is the opportunity that is still open and still running. Yeah, even though there is still a regulation issue, for example, in the securities, for example, and the securities, can the securities purchased by 5%, for example, one piece of securities can be purchased by 5%, and how is the regulation of ownership, I mean, between the 5 people that own the piece of securities. And the security, I think blockchain itself give features that can overcome the security issue. I think the security can be solved well in the blockchain solutions.
Okay, and yeah, I hope that answer Mr. Arif question. Thank you. I still with the mature concept and visible brand. This question, yeah. If other participants have further question, please do so by you can raise your hand in the reaction, or as Mr. Arif did, type your question in the chat box. In the pursuit of the question from Mr. Arif, I see that beside the cryptocurrency use case, the blockchain technology has become a buzzword, and there is a concept understanding that we need to provide to the world. Can Pak Suhardi, Professor Suhardi, probably provide an insight? How far are we from the common understanding, common usage, and the potential of the blockchain technology will become in our daily life for transaction, etc.
Yeah, the usage of the blockchain in a daily life until today, maybe the cryptocurrency. We know well about Bitcoin, yeah, and there are another cryptocurrency, Ethereum, for example, and maybe come another cryptocurrency from the blockchain platform. Today, I think there are a dozen of blockchain platform that provide a cryptocurrency, wallet system, transaction system, and so on. Even though our countries have not yet have regulation on the cryptocurrency, but the transaction is allowed in Indonesian.
Okay.
I think, yeah, in one side, we don't have a regulation for that, but in the other side, the transaction is
perform.
Yeah, take place and today. So
yeah.
And in the future, some asset, I think non-fungible asset is still operate. There are some business in non-fungible token in Indonesia. Even though the non-fungible token business in Indonesia is still growing, but some business people do the business. And in the future, maybe in 1 or 2 years, the phenomena that property or asset will be fragmented, will be fragmented in the small pieces of token. So people can buy property together, and the property seller will fractionize the property in a form of token. So people can buy a token, so they have ownership to the property, even though the property, even though the law and regulation on the property ownership is still, I think, still developed in Indonesia. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know about all of the participants understanding about this technology, blockchain, because to give an understanding about this very specific technology is not quite easy. This is a popular question probably. Is it difficult to give insight to non-technical people about what kind of things this is blockchain is, and how this can become something that is common knowledge? Is that quite difficult, or we can probably simplify its terminology into something?
Yeah. Yeah. I can give an cases to imagine how difficult or how easy we learn on the blockchain. Today, some students from, for example, Faculty of Business, Faculty of Economy and accountant learn on the blockchain to solve some problem in the business and financial problem. So many financial solutions based on the blockchain, and they learn the topic of blockchain.
Okay.
I think if our colleagues from business faculty, economic faculty, accountant faculty, and even some social faculty learns blockchain to the crowdfunding, for example. Yeah, it's the I think if we learn on the technical aspect, it's maybe complicated,
yeah,
but there are some blockchain platform, there are some blockchain solution that can be used directly to build a solution in the business domain, social domain, financial domain, and so on. So easy or difficult, I think it's relative, yeah.
I agree, because in those domains the use case probably will emerge while we in the technical side provide the know-how, the how to use it is in the business domain probably, and it came to my understanding that it's a quite simplistic perspective, but probably we can explain that the blockchain is some kind of storage technology. Simply as that, storage technology with added feature on the transparency. Is that representing all of the aspect of the blockchain, do you think?
Yeah, in the point of view of data or information, blockchain is another way to save or to manage data in a systematic way. A systematic way, I means that they try to documented all of the transaction and data in the historical structure. So all of the transaction of the data will be saved and will be fixed in this in the system, so that we can call, we can see or even audit of the data, start from the first transaction until now, maybe 100 million or billion transaction. Is all of the transaction will be documented in the system.
And auditable, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe the memory is the problem to collect all of
Okay.
data. But
Okay.
yeah, I think the memory price is lower and lower.
Yes,
So
it's getting cheaper.
yeah,
Yeah.
cheaper.
Okay. Please, any other question perhaps from participant? So regarding this technology, perhaps Professor Suhardi can re-highlight, yeah, future potential research topic with regard to blockchain, probably.
Yeah, I can imagine that blockchain today same with the internet in the 80 or 19.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 or
It's
19.
new. It's new.
Yeah.
New terminology.
Yeah. I knew that, I remember that when I was a student in 1992, internet in Europe or in America, for example, is only mastered by technical people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the student from electrical engineering, informatics is the only student that learn the internet.
Yeah.
But in the end of 20th century, 2000, toward 2000, all of the people learn internet, from the business student, political student, even from social and language student, all learn about internet. And today, all of people know internet and can use internet. So internet is the technology that used by people in the daily life. Even the kid or teenager use the internet, and people don't need to learn internet, just
Use it. Yeah. Just use it.
maybe a blockchain in 10 years from today, blockchain will be an internet, will be same as the internet in the start of the 21st century. Yeah?
Okay.
All of the people know blockchain, all of the people use blockchain, and we don't need to learn blockchain, just use the blockchain in our daily life. Now we call it as a general platform technology, or GPT. So like like internet, in the 70 or 80, maybe only people from the student from the electrical engineering and informatics know the internet. But today, and we have seen that blockchain today not only learned by informatic or electrical engineering student, but blockchain is a course that that are learned by students from business, economic, and so on. I think is in the near future, blockchain will be a general technology and general platform for every activity and business process in almost all sector. So we can master in the blockchain today, and when we know and master in the blockchain first, so we can leverage and we can take advantage more and more in comparison with the other that know later. I think it's the opportunity.
Thank you. So we noticed that two other speakers today highlight the security aspect of things. Perhaps the aspect of security is also a possible research concern for blockchain, Professor Sari.
Yeah, yeah, maybe because if in the beginning, when the researcher or experts talk on the blockchain, they said always the security of blockchain is perfect. This immutable. They don't be tampered and so on. So according a theoretical based on the theoretical point of view, the security is
Secure.
not a problem in the blockchain. But I have discussed with our colleagues in Russia that there are many attacks on the blockchain, especially in the cryptocurrency. So I don't know, maybe in other system that based on blockchain technology come new attacks too in the near future.
Yeah. Yes, we see in the case of poisoning the system, like in DNS.
Yeah.
Probably it has some loophole there in the system.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Suhardi. If we don't have any other question, perhaps I think we can wrap up our event today. I'm sorry, our session today. So we shall return to Ms. Della. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pak Suhardi and Professor Robin Dos, Professor Yim. We hope what we observe today can provide us insight on how we can pursue our technology advancement and also research we can pursue for our society. Thank you very much. We return to Ms. Della.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Purnomo. Also, I would like to say thank you to Professor Suhardi for the presentation, and Professor Kang Bin Yim also, and Professor Robin Dos for the presentation. All right, everyone. So finally, we have finished all of the session for today's. But before we close this event, I would like to remind you that tomorrow, we will have a parallel session for the blockchain workshop. So for now, I will explain the rules for the parallel session tomorrow. So please join the meeting at least 20 minutes before the parallel session starts, and don't forget to fill out the attendance form. And then please change your name into the number of the room dash your name. For example, room 1-Dela. And then other participants are expected to be able to attend the presentation session from start to finish and present the papers in arranged order. And then non-presented papers are excluded from the IEE Explorer packaging list, and then papers are attended by at least one of the paper's authors. And the presentation is represented by a video recording that participants have uploaded, or if not yet available, you can present directly. Participant can ask questions to the presenter directly on camera or use the chat feature on the chat box below. The presentation will be recorded for documentation purposes. And the end of the meeting, a group photo will be taken. And the last is the certificate will be distributed to presenters and paper authors via emails after the presentation session ends. So please pay attention to the attendance list. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, representing all the parties organizing this event, I would like to say thank you to all the distinguished speakers, moderators, and all participants for joining this event today. I do apologize if there's any mistakes in presenting this event. Thank you very much for your kind and attention. I'm Della Hogiana signing off, and see you tomorrow.